The 50 for the Future project is a beautiful, selfless act on the part of the Kronos Quartet.
We thought, let's find a way to bring other musicians in on the fun, the exploration, the adventure that we've had.
It would be really nice that when we have been doing 50 years of quartet, that we can give these pieces along to the next generations.
That's, I think, what is the future for music also, that you always keep on connecting through music.
When I think of what might be the future of the string quartet, I'll tell you what I want it to be. What I want it to be is the most amazingly activist force in human society. I mean, when you think what Haydn, Mozart, Beethoven, Schubert, what they gave our art form as a foundation, there's nothing like it in any other art form. We have the strongest foundation. Okay, well, let's use that, the strength of that foundation, to help energize people to create solutions for the most vexing, distressing problems the world faces. And that can be done, I believe, through energizing musical experience. And I think it also can be done by creating inspiration, creating challenge, challenging work.
So many incredible things have been done. Bartók, Stravinsky, Debussy, Beethoven, of course. So many different colors have already been developed for the string quartet. And then in 2020, the sound world is yet completely different. This is fascinating, and I think it's also a sort of mirror for the time we are in. The world in a way becomes smaller, so it's possible for people from everywhere in the world to play music that is from the other side of the world.
I think about music as a medium that can only bring us closer together as humans. And I think quartets in general have a way of sonifying that. The greatest moments of string quartets feel like the moments where I hear all four voices, but like you can't quite tell if it's four or one. I think the searching for and looking for alignment with other people is, I think, one of the greatest human goals.
For me, what's really interesting is seeing how musicians, classical musicians maybe in particular, are using the internet. A lot of social media accounts that I look at, I see the groups not only showcasing the music that what they're working on, but behind the scenes, how they're interacting together, what they're like as people. What I remember, at least as a kid, is like you go to the concert and the concert is like the point of everything. It's like where you get to see all this stuff happen. And I'm seeing this trend where the point is like the process, what it's like to practice violin, or like how do you get a harp from A to B, the dynamics of rehearsal, what is all that like? There's a lot more risk-taking from groups in terms of what they're putting out on the internet. You know, like rehearsal footage is a potentially sensitive thing because there's going to be wrong notes, there's going to be things that aren't quite sculpted as we want them yet.
I think the great thing about being alive today is that with technology and with a certain openness to breaking down cultural barriers, you just have so much more variety, so much more conversation between disciplines, between histories, different histories.
You know, we can play folk music, we can collaborate with someone from a different musical tradition. And it's easy to say that, but Kronos Quartet's kind of laid the groundwork for how you can do that and a lot of different ways that can look.
I think that public now, the larger part of it is a young public, young people. And I think a lot of young people are more open now to listen to any kind of string quartets. In the past, I think the war horse type literature and the classical and romantic literature was the thing, you know. You didn't hardly even hear any of the contemporary string quartets. To hear Bartók would have been like fantastic, or to hear Elliott Carter would have been even more daring than Bartók, you know. But now, you could hear everything.
For
For a long time, I think string quartets, it was like, you are this group, you know, you have your quartet sound and that's what you do. And nowadays there are composers in the quartet. There are people who play different instruments, other instruments in the quartet. Some of us who just want to learn other instruments or sing. The possibilities are endless and we're stronger because of each other's individual strengths, and it's really exciting to get to use that.
We're excited by the number of our classical colleagues who are becoming more open to improvising and also becoming more open to writing their own music. We sort of see that as like classical music going full circle, kind of like back to the old days when the composers were all known to be great improvisers and performers would often write pieces or improvise their own cadenzas, things like this. I think in the end that can be more interesting for us as performers, but also for the audience as well.
I see the boundary lines of what it means to be a string quartet dissolving and expanding. There are just ways that we can be creative going forward because there's no one to say, if you do this, you are no longer a string quartet. I think there's a wonderful flexibility to it.
With this project, 50 for the Future, we've hopefully expanded what a string quartet can do. I hope these young ensembles will continue this project and explore the many facets of what a string quartet can actually attain with the different composers that are, so many of them are out there now that are very, very interesting and unique, and they need to be played and heard.
There is no future in string quartets. Papa Quartet was the last quartet to ever quartet.
They ruined it for everybody.
There will never be a quartet.